get fit, and in that specifics to get more confident. And we'll work with examples. And we'll work with the example of if you are a nurse practitioner, making sure that you've got good. So this in fact comes up quite sometimes. That is when you start your martial arts or your self-defense, and I call it career, and we'll explain what career means in this context for an adult. But the point is, the first intent for adults is when you walk through the studio, when you come in here, is to learn how to defend yourself. What does that mean, and what's my take on that? It means that in the case of particularly being pushed, grabbed, an attempt of an attack with a fist or with a kick or something in that sense, you are able to stop the attack. That could mean that you are not there, so you get out of the line, or that you go inside. If you've never done martial arts, this will be very weird in the beginning, because just think about that. I got some examples over here. Yes. Okay, if this is exactly the bad guy, and you are here, you are the good guy, and this is 8 feet, life is pretty much okay. The problem is that it moves from 8 feet to around here, to 1 meter or 6 feet around there. That's where people can hit you. So Krav Maga curriculum or the self-defense curriculum usually focus on things that happen from the 1 meter, 6 feet. The range, the number is not the most important thing. What's important in here is understanding that this has to do with the range of the human or humans that are in front of you, because it could be more than one person. So you learn self-defense that has to do with someone is able to strike, punch, kick, headbutt, elbow, within certain distance, okay? And the self-defense in there starts obviously from the beginning, that is being able, when you talk with strangers, when the strangers, that your hands should move up to go into this negotiator position. I'll not do the position today in here, but there is a ton of videos out there. If you look into full negotiator position or half negotiator, you'll just play it down, it will work. Of course, when you come to the studio, we teach them as part of the basic self-defense course. And as you understand that ability to put your hands up and say, at this distance, if someone throws an attack, throws a punch, a kick, tries to grab my legs, I'm able to avoid that thing hitting my head. That's a good thing. So that's why adults come in here, to avoid being hit, to avoid being grabbed. Why they come in here, it's usually a combination of the following. They've seen something out there with a friend, and they made me think, what if that happened to me? What should I do? The second part is they've seen things on TV, and every time there is a different thing happening, and they say, what if that happens to me? So they feel unsafe. And the third one is that something that definitely happened to me, either right now or in the past, and now he or her decided to take a decision, man, like to go there and say, I want to start training, I want to start working out. The word working out, it could be a bit diffusing in here, because it's more in the line of the understanding, in the line of the physical fitness. But either you like it or not, when you do Krav Maga, self-defense, I'm not going to name other systems because I don't train them, but when you do martial arts, you're also working your fitness. By fit, meaning being able to run, push, pull, do things that make you fit. Okay. So we covered that what protection is the ability to avoid any kind of attack that is coming at you. I'm not talking about it's a physical attack. I'm not talking about if someone is blaming you or saying like rubbish things, I'm talking about you start coming into the classes as an adult because you said, I want to either A, stop what's happening to me, stop what had happened to me, and stop what could happen to me. These are the three things that puts you into the class. It's my job as an instructor to go through obviously the things in Krav Maga, or in this case in the curriculum that you have, and that I will go through so that you have a good idea of how these things happen. And these are striking. So either you punch or hit. Either you hit someone using your limbs or someone does that to you. Grappling or wrestling. That's in close stance, in close contact, you grab and you push or you pull. In particular, then you have, so pausing here, grappling or wrestling. Then we have chokes. That's particularly dangerous because it means that someone is trying to take the air and it's going for your neck. That's never a good thing, okay? You will also learn later on how to use a choke for defensive purposes, but if this is happening to you, it's not good. Then you've got ground in here, and many fights end up on the ground. Many fights can be ended in the ground, but you are unable to run if you are with your backs on the ground. So this is important to learn because important to learn how to fall. It's also important not only to learn how to fall, but it's important to learn if someone is on top of you or if you are on top of someone, what to do in there. Remember, for the practice of self-defense, and if it's more than one attacker, you are heavily, I'm going to say, diminishing your capability of movement. Okay, so you cannot run with your backs on the ground. You cannot see around. You can go on a one-to-one basis very strong, but more than one, it's very, very hard. Then we've got knife and stick, okay? Knife and stick is what happens and what should I do if I get attacked with someone with a knife. The principle is that don't be there, but what if you are there? What do you do? So it's really, really important that at least you have a notion of what's the idea against a knife and against a stick, because they represent two different ways to attack someone. Essentially, a knife, if it's close, it can always cut. If it's far, it shouldn't do that, okay, unless if the person throws the knife. But the stick is, I would say, it's in the other side. There is a certain distance where the stick is really a problem. People can swing at it, and the last third really hurts. And if it's closer, it's not that much. All of these things can be also have some difference in there, but generically that's the principle. And then, of course, gun. And in the gun, you are not going to learn against to deviate from bullets, okay? That's not the case. It's not possible. It's not physically possible, okay? It's the moment someone pulls the trigger, and the data could be the time between pulling the trigger and the combustion going to the chamber and the bullet coming out is 0.2 seconds to 0.4 or even less. You are unable to move. It doesn't give you time, you'll be shot. Of course, there are many things in there that we need to talk, but overall, you can see them as separate things: striking, grappling or wrestling, chokes, and essentially using levers, okay, using locks, chokes and locks, so I put in there. And then in this case, ground, again, knife and stick and gun. So all of them can be matched up. Someone can punch you and grab you, punch you and take you to the ground. All of these using the ground and punch. But in the beginning, it's probably better, and that's the approach that we take in here, to do one, to understand, at least to do one of them, understand one really better, and then progress to the others as we move along. The only reason to change this, I would say, start in the striking, because people stand up, that's how they fight, how they do things. Start with your striking and then move to your grappling and to your ground, then start complementing the remaining needs. The only reason to change these, at least a bit, is if your work needs, or if in your work you are always finding people with knives, or people where there is more gun threat. That's how I would change the program for your objectives, okay? But regular humans like ourselves, we need to really to know how to strike well. We need to know good pieces of grappling and wrestling, and good pieces in the ground. All of the other things come next. Okay, so we talked about why does someone come in to protect and defend yourself, essentially of either something that has happened to you in the past, something that you've seen happen to someone, or something that you think that could happen in the future. And pretty straightforward, right? New York now is in a different, with a different crime scene. You could be motivated by that, or you could be motivated because you just decided that it's your time. And I've also taken you through the striking, grappling, chokes, ground, knife and stick, and gun framework, at least where you topple up your ideas on what you're going to train. If you have any questions, man, just reach out to me. We do virtual training on Zoom, and of course we have an open door in Morris Plains. Very happy to take any questions that you have, so that we can clarify more of these, because the whole objective of self-defense, and we practice Krav Maga in here. Obviously we train since Krav Maga, and we'll talk, I'll try to make a full episode or another videos on what is Krav Maga, where does it come from, what's the conception on that. But right now, what we practice in here is the practice of self-defense using the Krav Maga framework. As an adult, doing this, it's important that you reserve time for yourself. This needs practice, okay? If you have kids, that's different, because you are able to coordinate their time. You are able to say, this is important for you. I really want you to be able to, with a set of knowledge of these techniques, to become strong and to become confident. And the reason why you are becoming confident is because you do a lot of repetitions of a specific technique in a scenario. So pushing you around, and these swings the arm, you are able to clash in and dive and lock, or you're going to do the 360, whatever is the technique, we'll take care of that. But because of that, your child, obviously yourself as well, your child will becoming confident. When that happens at school or outside of school, there is good understanding that can work for them to defend themselves. Again, understand why you want to train. This is really important. People walk in the door and say, I want to train because several reasons. Most of them is because I want to learn how to defend myself. Some of them just want to come in here for the fitness side, and they get the self-defense on top because they get fit. But when you practice, when you train, you will learn these dimensions: striking, grappling, chokes, or joint locks. And we'll work also on the ground, learning how to defend yourself against knife and sticks and gun. Things change a lot as you practice, meaning you will be here for around 4 months, learning the fundamentals. Then after 4 months, you can decide to stay, or you continue on your own. That's the whole idea. Or you can start teaching your family. But more important, do the repetitions, do the time, do the fundamental course, either with me or with someone else, but it needs to be practical, okay? And I think I do need to do what this practical means. That's probably something really important to work out and see what practical means. So I hope you enjoyed these, okay? It's this explanation of why do adults come to self-defense, and why should also children come to self-defense, and what do we do in here. So hope you enjoyed these, guys. Any questions or comments, put them down. I'll read them all, of course. And thank you for your interest in self-defense. Enjoy.